all amino acid can be converted into glucose, while fatty acid can never be. Not just because of the chemical makeup of fat and amino acid. So if there's a need for glucose arise, protein will be broken down, and then the amino acid can be converted into glucose. When amino acid is converted to glucose, the nitrogen containing amine group can be used somewhere else, or they're actually incorporated by the liver into urea, and then that will get sent to the kidney for excretion in the urine. Your body has no storage mechanism for protein. You can actually store carbohydrate, glycogen, or store lipid in your adipose tissue, but body protein is present only as an active working molecule and structural component of the lean tissue. There's no storage form of protein exists inside the body. So since there's no protein storage inside the body, what happens when there is excessive amino acid? The body really have no choice but to remove and excrete the nitrogen-containing amine group and reuse the remaining molecule in one of the three ways. 1, to use it for immediate energy. 2, to make glucose for storage as glycogen. Or 3, to make them into fats for energy storage. And this just shows that, like all different kind of energy source, but all can able to kind of provide energy. And if you think about it, let me see. So both carbohydrate and protein, 1 gram of carb and 1 gram of protein will give you 4 calorie. Fats, because of the chemical structure, is able to kind of give you 9 kcal per grams. The use of amino acid really depends on the needs of the body. If there is enough energy needs, the body will first use the amino acid to build protein or use an essential amino acid to make a non-essential amino acid. When there is no sufficient energy from carbohydrate or fats for the body to use, the body will turn to use amino acid, which is really considered a wasteful use of amino acid, if you ask me. When there is too much of any single amino acid, or when the diet provides supply of low quality with too few essential amino acid, our body will not be able to kind of utilize the amino acid to its full potential, and that is to make new protein. To prevent this from happening, it's important to remember that we have to make sure our diet comprises of all 9 essential amino acids and make sure that you have adequate carbohydrate intake as a source of energy. So how much protein do we need? I can tell you it will not be like what some people has been telling you, like, hey, you need to take 2 grams of protein per a pound of body weight, or you need to take, over couple 100 grams of protein if you want to build muscle mass. The amount of protein, it really depends on the body size, and also it depends on the life stage and health. The minimum protein intake from the DRI is make sure that you have 10% of your total daily calorie from protein. Though some population may have a higher protein need, like athletes, their estimated protein need will be about 1.2 to 1.7 gram per kilogram of body weight. Again, it's gram per kilogram, not gram per pound. When someone has an infection, the protein need increase due to an increased need for immune function. And normally, for a healthy population adults, the normal protein need is set to be at 0.8 gram to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. Again, for a healthy population, the normal protein need is set at 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. Quality of the protein is also matter, because like what we previously talked about, some food product does not contain all essential amino acid protein. Animal product is considered high quality protein because they contain all 9 essential amino acids. Not only that, our body is also better at absorbing the amino acid from animal product. Vegetables are considered to have lower quality protein because of the fact that they do not contain all 9 essential amino acids. And in addition, the protein digestibility is another factor to determine protein's quality. So when you eat a piece of steak or a cup of oatmeal, the protein will not actually get digested or absorbed 100%. Generally, animal product is considered high quality protein because not only they have all the essential amino acid, our bodies are able to digest and absorb more than 90% of the amino acid from animal protein. Those from legumes like beans and lentils is next, about 80%, and grains and other plant foods about 70%. So we know that without consuming all non-essential amino acids, our body's ability to make protein is compromised. What to do is with the diet, when the diet is generally without animal product, or it's generally comprised of vegetable and grain, we can actually get all of the essential amino acids by eating food together, and that's what we call a complementary protein. For example, legume contain isoleucine and lysine, but doesn't have methionine and tryptophan. But grains have methionine and tryptophan. So by eating rice and bean together, a grain food and a legume, you're able to get all 9 essential amino acids. And then the grain and legume are called complementary protein when they actually complement each other, that the essential amino acid missing in one is supplied by the other. And this is just an example of some of the complementary protein that you can have together. So we're going to talk about nitrogen balance. What is nitrogen balance? Nitrogen balance is the amount of nitrogen consuming compared with the amount excreted in a given period of time. In a healthy adult, the nitrogen excreted must equal nitrogen consumed. And scientists will actually measure your body's daily nitrogen loss in urine, feces, sweat, and skin under a controlled condition. In clinical setting, like in the hospital, sometimes we do use like urine and blood to evaluate nitrogen balance for our patient in the hospital. When the nitrogen balance is positive, we know that the person is taking in more protein than excreted. So we know that the body, that they're actually making more protein than breaking them down. When the nitrogen balance is negative, we know that they're losing protein. And things like in growing children or pregnancy, a possibility sometimes like weight training, they tend to have a positive nitrogen balance. Negative nitrogen balance happens when the muscle or tissues are broken down and lost. Okay, and sometimes it's due to injury or illness. So like when people who are really sick in the hospital, sometimes they tend to have a negative nitrogen balance because they're not taking in, they may not have a good appetite, and then their bodies actually are breaking down protein inside the body. Another example for negative nitrogen balance would be astronauts. So they tend to have a negative nitrogen balance because in the space, there's no need to support the body's weight against gravity. So what happens is that the astronauts' muscle actually get weakened and then get broken down. So inside the space, they have to do specific exercise to make sure that they're actually maintaining their muscle